Oh, look, it broke. I feel like we have to keep Vince in here. Like, we're going to have to keep the fifth person in.
Okay.
All right, you start the show. I'll fix it.
Okay.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Are we good to go? We good?
Go for it.
Cool. Everyone, welcome to the StreamKey Podcast. My name is Sadomi, and today we have two very special, brand new guests to the podcast. First off, we have my longtime friend, longtime music streamer. I should mute the stream.
You should.
We have Seena, Bo, Bina.
Hey.
Seena, say hello to the people.
Hey, what's up?
Perfect. And then we have former Twitch partner, now Mixer partner, industry veteran, and the man with more connections than the guy down the street, RandyDeg. Randy, say what's up, baby.
What's up? Oh, God.
Then we have our wonderful show producer who's doing the hardest job out of the three of us combined, Mr. Pure Instinct.
Hey, guys, what's up?
You guys listen to the show all the time. He's here all the time. Y'all know him. You love him. Bada bing, bada boom. Alrighty. So today's show is going to be a lot more interactive because right now, since we have so much variety on the desk today, I want to get your questions. We want to get into the deeps of your problems. We want to make sure we hear from you today. So if you have a question, tag either TRUgaming or Sadomi in chat, or if you want to call into the show, exclamation point calls will break you to our Discord. It can bring you in and we can talk about what you have any questions about, okay? So before we get into all the questions that everyone may or may not have, let's get into our guests. So let's start with Seena. Seena, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a music streamer. I do like live music. I take song requests. Occasionally I'll play games, but that's just kind of when I get bored with my music streams. I like to do whatever I feel like, and I'm really chaotic with what I do. But I have a good time, so it's fun.
Nice. And how long have you been streaming for?
Oh God, it's been like 2-3 years, something like that. I've lost count. Everything's a mess with the virus and everything. I don't know what's going on anymore. So something like that, 2 or 3 years.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. We're glad you were here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. And Randy, tell
Yes,
everybody
sir.
a bit about you. What is your history? What is your background? Why are you here today, my friend?
My friend, I am here today to be on this wonderful podcast. I have been a streamer since, I think, early 2015. Used to be a Twitch partner. Reasons I switched. Now I'm a Mixer partner. And I've also worked in the industry.
So what'd you work in the industry doing?
Ubisoft server, game server hosting. So basically, I'm the guy that pushed the updates to your PlayStation and PCs every time a game had an update.
Gotcha. Perfect. Different varying levels of expertise here. And like I said, we like different perspectives on the StreamKey Podcast. So for today, we have a few topics we want to jump into right off the bat. Bada bing, bada boom. So in case you guys have not heard, there is a lot of things going on in just the world right now. So Twitch news in and of itself is kind of slow. There's a few small things here and there, tech stuff going into. But right now, the one thing I kind of want to focus on is just the outside of streaming, the outside part of gaming, part of streaming. Because right now, a lot of people are coming onto Twitch who are not endemic to the gaming space, people who are not gamers, people who just trying to find something new to do. So, Seena, I'll bring to you as someone who does music streams and tarot streams.
Yeah, that too. I forgot about that one.
Perfect. So tell us, what has been the difference in your gaming streams when you're doing those versus your music streams and your tarot streams?
Yeah, I mean, when I first stumbled upon Twitch, I was, I had a laptop, and I started with the only game that I could stream, and that was Stardew Valley. And it was a ton of fun. And then I just kind of came across the music community on Twitch, and I was like, I think I could do this. And so I tried it out, and it's just something that's very unique and very, very interactive. For me, it's a lot easier to interact with my viewers when I'm doing music streams and tarot streams than when I'm like playing Overwatch. You know what I mean? It's just so much. It just flows way better for me personally. So it's for me, it's just the best way to connect with my viewers is to just kind of hang out and just do something that like involves them. And, you know, we talk about the interests a lot. We talk about music and like, you know, we end up talking about like mental illness and childhood trauma. You know, like things get real. Like it opens up the community for some serious topics, and it's kind of like this support group that's created. It's great.
Awesome. Yeah, I've definitely noticed. 'Cause I've been in your streams a bunch too, so I know the feeling of. And this is also one of my personal gripes too when it comes to streaming games. You don't have that chance to really focus 100% on your community, on the people who are watching you. As a broadcaster, especially on Twitch, it's all about the connection, all about the people who are in your channel. And so for me personally, I don't understand how some people can like game at a high level and still keep that same connection.
Right.
I feel like you definitely lose something with that high level of focus. So having even single player games, as much as you can pause those and just kind of go on tangents, it's still really hard to
For
keep
sure.
that connectivity. And kind of bouncing off of connectivity, Randy, I want to ask you how, because you have a very interesting story. You are, I would say, the one person, if you want to ever ask any questions about how to get somewhere just by knowing people properly. I'm not, taking away your skill or anything, because you are very skillful in what you do. In fact, I think that being able to connect with people and being able to have a wide network of people is a skill in and of itself. Probably the most important skill anyone can have, not only as a streamer, but as a professional, as a person. So if you can tell me a bit about your story, how you got into Twitch partnership and streaming in general.
Yeah, sure. Long story. I had a PlayStation 4. I saw a Dragon Ball game that was about to be released. It was Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And a month before the English version released, I had the opportunity to get the Japanese version. Made a Japanese account, got the account, and I started playing against some people. Now, if you press forward a few weeks, I beat one guy continuously over and over again, and then I find him on Twitch. I say what's up to him, and out of that, he had 800 viewers. He was like, you beat me every time. I can't beat you." And he was basically giving me like hype the entire time. And from there, I started my own stream one day, and 800 viewers, 1,000 viewers, and before I knew it, I was Twitch partner before I even knew what streaming meant. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into streaming, and from there, I basically just kept on streaming and went to conventions to broaden my network, and that's how I met you. That's how I met most of my friends, most of the people in the industry. That's kind of the ball got rolling.
Perfect. And now let's also break down into a bit further. So after you got Twitch partnership, I know you made contact with some people at Mixer, correct?
Yes, a few years after, like after I was 3 years in. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to go into some detail about how your experience has been as a Mixer partner now and how that journey came about, I would love to hear that.
Yeah. First of all, we are on Twitch, so I want to make clear that I have no problem against the people on Twitch, nor the platform in itself. It's just how certain things went about with me personally. Because for other people, it goes great, but just for me personally, some things didn't go well. Moving on from that, at E3, I believe, 2018 or 17, I don't remember. I went to the Mixer booth and I met somebody from there, and I just started up a conversation with him because I was curious about what they were about. So he started explaining to me how they were basically providing everybody with a platform that to start out with. Basically, if you start out a Mixer, they were basically advertising, yeah, we're gonna get you discovered. From all you need is yourself. If you can bring yourself, if you can advertise yourself, we will give you all the tools you need to succeed. And that included like streaming and bringing out your content on different platforms. They had a whole system where if you were up and coming, they had a whole highlighted system that was basically front page, and all of that just spoke to me. And that's kind of how I got lured in, and I got into talks with them. And after a while, I decided, to switch to Mixers. I prefer that. I want to start over. I want to start fresh. And giving my personal problems with Twitch, I just decided, you know what? Let me just start fresh and let me see if I can make it there and do it right from the start.
Perfect. And now, being on Mixer, I know you haven't just probably streamed like a lot lately, but
Mhm.
what are some of the key differences between platforms as you've seen it from both like sides of the equation?
The main difference that I've seen is honestly communication from the platform itself to its partners at the very least. It doesn't matter if you're a partner with 30 viewers or a partner with 5,000. They all talk to you the same. You have access to the same tools. You have access to the same, basically, front page time. You're involved with the development of the platform. I can't say a lot about how and what, but they basically do take input from partners. They do take input from the community, and there's been enough times that features have been implemented on Mixer, and like got in contact with them, like, we don't like this. Please do something about this, or find something else. But this right here, we don't like. And then next month, it was gone. Like, if they listen to their community, and that's the one thing that I really like about Mixer above Twitch.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that Twitch is maybe it's just maybe it's a size thing, but definitely Twitch is a lot slower to react and a lot slower on the ball too. A lot of features that community members have wanted for years still have been implemented. Community features that the community has implemented themselves being implemented by Twitch almost a whole half decade later. So honestly, I think having both of those perspectives really lets you see kind of how size can change you as both a streamer and also just as a platform in general. Now, I want to bring a nice question to all of you because all of you have very varying styles of streaming, varying styles of making your place in this world of content creation. And we'll start with MPI because I want to hear his lovely voice, and he's been busy behind the scenes, so thank you again. But what would you say is the one thing that has kept you broadcasting, the one that has kept you in the streaming space?
Like just in general, why I continue to stream at all? Easily, it's just like the connections that you make with people. Like, I mean, I've talked about this, I think, I don't know, a few times on the show, but the whole reason I started streaming was it gave me a connection with people who I would have never met before, and helped me deal with some of my anxiety and depression that I was dealing with. And now I can take that thing that helped me and use it to help other people. And that's the biggest reason. And then with connections too, like I've made some of the best friends I could ever have through Twitch. Like, I mean, I met you through Twitch, Sadomi. We had people fly in from all over the country and drive in from all over the country to go to our wedding, who I'd never met in person, but I met them through Twitch, and they're like some of the greatest people I could have ever met. So it's easily the connections that you make with people through this platform.
Agreed. Randy, how about you?
Honestly, I think he just said it. Yeah, no, honestly, it's the connections. For me personally, before I started streaming, I was in school, but I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. It's not that I didn't want to, go through school and get a diploma and go to work. I just, every time I did something, I was like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And it was no. And I was just in a point in my life, like, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something. And then streaming came along, and I always liked gaming, and it gave me an opportunity. And then through that, I went to the States because I never went outside of my country until I went to TwitchCon for the first time in 2016. I met amazing people that I met through Twitch, build up friendships, like same what he said, Sadomi, even met with you, met with, like, some of those people are now like really family. And out of all of this, I think I really prioritize that even above like being a streamer or a content creator. Just all those connections that I built up and call people family that you never would have met without a platform like this.
Yeah, 100%. And to kind of piggyback on that too, I asked both Randy and Seena about an hour ago to be on the show. And let me tell you, Randy just got off of work. He's in the EU.
I was in bed.
Seena rolled out of bed. Okay.
I was like, gotta put my face on.
I didn't even know what was going on. He was like, "You want to be on a podcast?" I was like, "Sure."
Whatever.
I'm off work in like 2 minutes.
Exactly. And like I only have family that would roll over out of bed to be on a show with me. So again, thank you. And that right there is really the like heavy part for streaming for me right there. I love the connection part. Seena, please chime in with whatever you want to chime in with.
Yeah. I definitely agree with whatever's been said already. Definitely there's the connection, really just meeting and collaborating with people that you can really connect with. You guys have a lot of interests that are similar. Well, I don't stream video games. Like, I'm definitely interested and I love playing video games. And so this is just a really good community for that. And, kind of bouncing off of like, mental health and things like that when who was it? It was somebody mentioned something about like just for like depression and things like that, like how it's helped them, right? Yes. And for me, when I first started streaming, as a stay-at-home mom, it was really hard for me to feel like fulfilled, because I was just like, I want to work, but at the same time I want to be with my son. It was just this constant battle, and I'd work for a while and then I'd be like, I don't want to work because I miss my son. And this was a good way for me to like really feel fulfilled and feel connected and like still be able to be with my son. So it's just, it's just been a real nice thing for me, very healthy for me. So
I'm glad you found that balance. That is very hard. A lot of people who are working mothers do probably want to spend more time with their children, but life circumstances, you gotta work,
right,
you
gotta do what you gotta
feed the
do.
family.
Mm-hmm.
So it is nice having all that together. So let's actually dive in that a bit more because I'm curious. So I know everyone here has outside requirements when it comes to streaming, when it comes to your life. Like, I'm probably the only person here who the only thing I do is based around my computer. Whether I am a troglodyte is to be determined, but quite frankly, I want to ask, what exactly are some of your biggest hurdles in balancing your life and balancing being on a persona, being a face on the internet?
I'm so bad at like having a social media like presence. Like, I'm so bad at keeping up with like, because you want to keep people in the loop. You want to keep people up to date with what you're doing, and I'm awful at it because I just like to be in the moment of things and so I have to remind myself, okay, I gotta take pictures, gotta and it's like I want to have that connection. It's just so difficult for me to like keep that balance of not worrying too much about my persona that's being portrayed on social media versus like how I am just like hanging out and chilling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely actually struggle with that too quite a bit because I want to be this disgusting, lewd, hilarious dude on Twitter, but at the same time I want to be professional enough so people can come to me and ask me like professional questions like, hey, how do I be more technical with my Twitter strategy? But if I'm sitting there posting, dank memes only and some like stuff you shouldn't post on Twitter at all, then it is what it is. So there's a nice little balance with that. MPI, how about you?
I think it's just like time to do everything, man. Like, there's not enough time in the days to do everything that I need to do because I only stream for like 4 hours in a day. I don't stream all day. I only stream 4 hours in the evenings. And outside of that, I do like video editing stuff for me or for others. And then I have to do things around the house. And then not as much now, obviously, with the whole pandemic going on and stuff. But, I mean, having a social life outside of Twitch and my house is a huge thing for me, too. Like, I have a lot of friends who live locally because I've lived here all my life, so I know a lot of people. And I love being able to, like, spend time with them. But then you throw in, all right, so I have to do my other work outside of streaming. I have to do my work for streaming, and then I stream in the evenings, and it's like everybody else works Monday through Friday 8 to 5. So Tuesday nights they're like, yeah, let's go, let's go to happy hour, and I'm like, I got to stream tonight, dude. I'm sorry, I can't. So like finding that balance of sometimes just saying I'm taking a night off from streaming, I'm going to go hang out with people that's the hardest part, dude. There's just not enough time to do everything that I want and need to do, no matter how hard I try.
That's so hard.
For sure. All right. I want to come back to the time part in a bit because that's actually a really big topic I want to dive into. But Randy, what would you say is your biggest problem when it comes to being a face in the community?
I think that at this point, me and MPI are like on the same page with a lot of stuff because what he said again, it's the biggest hurdle. It's basically me trying to be like, okay, I'm done with work. Should I play games for a few hours? Because I have to also have food. I also have to throw out the trash and clean up my house. And if I'm a person, I need 8 hours of sleep. That's just me personally. So that leaves me with a few hours to do either streaming, gaming, watch a movie, or do something else. And then it's like bedtime already. And it's just sometimes I'm like, okay, I've streamed for an hour, but I also wanted to watch that movie, or I also wanted to go out and see that friend, or I need to go to the store, and then there goes one day of streaming, and I only stream for an hour. And that's basically the biggest problem I've faced up until now when it comes to being a content creator and having a job on the side.
Now, piggybacking off of that, because I love this next question, this next topic here. What would you want to offload to someone else if you could? If you could pick any one thing to offload, what would you offload?
Was that to me or?
We'll say whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, well, for me personally, the offload, like, people have been telling me this for so long, but the importance of it, like, really hit with me as soon as I got a job and I was starting to stream. Schedule, like a schedule for everything helps so much. It's insane. I tried that like once, like in terms of streaming, work, and social life, and everything just went perfect. Like I knew exactly where I could say yes to. I knew exactly where I had to be. I knew what I could do to make sure I could make it in time for the next thing. The problem is, for me personally, it's like it's draining. So just make sure that even if you've scheduled everything perfectly, just take time off. Just even if you have free time to do something else, just do nothing. Relax, recharge. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I've been my current like life situation. I've been essentially working from 9 in the morning until about 2 a.m. every night, every Monday through Friday. Saturday though, I sit down, I lay down, I play Animal Crossing, I drink some fruit tea, not green tea, and I might sit there and play 4 hours of Valorant. I might just look at YouTube videos. I might just sit without my pants on. Who knows? It all depends on my mood. And it doesn't feel like it helps in the time. My brain's like, you could do something. You could do something. But then I notice when come Monday, I'm like, okay, I got energy again. So having that time to rest and break down is way more understated than people really realize. All right, now Seena, what would you offload if you could? Anything about just life?
So offload to just like, so sorry, I'm having a hard time saying yeah, rephrase this for me. So offload.
Will do. So pretty much give someone else a task.
Okay, right. So like to hire somebody to do this, right? Okay. So for me, yeah, definitely would be like social media upkeep, like I was talking about earlier. I'm awful at it. I wish I had somebody to just like post things, for me, and like I don't know, like and I don't like the idea because then it would be less personal, right? Of somebody else doing it, but it would definitely make things a lot easier for me.
Oh no, fair, yeah, because social media is as somebody who does social media marketing, I have a client whose social media I take care of. Keeping that personal aspect while keeping everything so active in your accounts is really hard.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't recommend anybody. If you have the funds and the extra time, if you don't have the time to do it, but you have the extra funds, I do recommend someone to hire out somebody to do a little bit of your social media, just because a lot of people in their social media, if you look at it, is very bare, doesn't fit their brand, doesn't fit a good point of social media. Like when someone's Twitter timelines and it's all retweets of other people, your Twitter timeline doesn't do anything for me. I don't see anything from you. But if I see like clips from you on your timeline, posts about you, what you think, your opinions, your life, then I see things. But again, not everybody is that kind of open person. Not everybody wants to be that out there. And also, everybody has the time to learn how to nitpick actual Twitter dimensions, because getting things to look right on Twitter is completely a whole science. There's guides out there and everything, but you have to just kind of be in the mess to just do it. And I recommend everyone, if you have the time, either learn a small course on it or look for somebody else who can help you out there. All right, MPI.
I don't know. Probably, I would say either graphic design or the like really nitpicky, deep dives of social media. So like not necessarily like the daily upkeep of like I'm sending a tweet, I'm posting on Instagram, or anything like that, but like here's why that tweet didn't perform well, or like here's your SEO of how people find you, like like actual SEO versus just me doing the tweets. That's fine. But like sometimes I just look at numbers and I'm like, I don't know, numbers. That's all they are. They're just numbers on a screen and they make no sense to my brain because I'm just not a numbers person. But and with like graphic design, I just can't draw. So I have a lot of really good ideas and then I open like Photoshop or Illustrator and I just kind of stare at it. I'm like, I don't know where to start, dude. I'm gonna go do what I know how to do, and then I'll come back to this later. And then I have like 400 graphic design ideas that never get done. So definitely one of those two would be like they're neck and neck. Which one I would rather offload to someone if I could.
Yeah, I know for a fact I've done all my stream overlays for the past three years, and they all look the same blocky, like hot mess. They've gotten better over time, but definitely, for the first time I paid someone to do my emotes because I'm cheap. I take photos of myself and I scale them up, but paid someone to do my sub badges, and honestly, it was worth it. It was worth it. The amount of time it would take me to produce something of that quality versus the price I paid for them is absolutely a waste of both time and effort to do that. So
Yeah.
I completely understand.
I would I would be happy like paying someone to help me do it. Like not just them do it. Just like here's my idea and then make it and then say this is how I did it so I can learn how to do it. Because I like to be able to do everything on my own, but sometimes I just don't know how. And I can only YouTube so many things before it's like none of this is clicking. So it's like somebody has that like one little method that they learned somewhere of like if you do this with the mouse it makes this perfect rounded edge, and I'm like, man, I would have never known that. So I would be happy to do that as an offload, like a half offload, if you will.
Half offload.
Yeah, you make it, but tell me how to do it so I don't have to bug you again in the future.
Teach
like
a man to fish.
Yeah, like a class or something.
Exactly.
Bouncing off of that a little bit, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's really important to really we were talking about hiring on people potentially, right? I think it's really important to support artists and things like that, because while I do like to do what I can for my stream, I also know that there are really talented artists out there that are just like starving. And I think when you can, it's a good idea to support them and have them create your artwork for you for sure.
Yeah, especially if somebody has like a very particular style that you really like. Because someone can tell me how to make something, but that doesn't mean I can like recreate that style of art. Because sometimes people just like they've got that special little thing that they can do that's just like that's like perfect. That's amazing.
That personal touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you can teach me all the
Made with
technical
love.
skills. Yeah, exactly.
Boom. So whenever I'm also if you're a streamer too and you're getting like if you have like 20 subs, 30 subs, you're getting income from those people, definitely use it to improve your stream and fund people like outwards. A new camera is nice and everything. Actually, a whole different tangent I'm going later.
Look,
but...
Sadomi, don't come at me for my dono goal right now.
Like I said, a new camera is nice and all, but I definitely think actually, let's go into this right now. So, at what point does your tech reach that point of diminishing returns? Do you think?
Do you want to rephrase that? But what do you mean by diminishing?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we all know that having no camera versus having a $10 camera versus having a $50 camera versus having a $300 camera then having a $1,000 camera, the quality differences in those are different for each. But at what point they start getting to diminish from we'll say just someone just basic broadcaster, no one who's like not huge, not really established yet, but definitely has like.
So basically, what would be a waste of money for somebody just starting out?
Right.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
feel like I could go on for a while about this one
Please
with
do.
camera equipment. I think the first thing that you're going to run into is no matter how expensive of a camera you buy, sure, I like if I picked up my DSLR back here and had a cam link and everything to plug it in, and I have this Elgato webcam or this C920 webcam, yes, the DSLR camera is immediately going to look better. But if you don't know how to really like tweak and use that equipment, you're not going to get your money's worth out of it. Because, I mean, so let's think about that purchase alone. The camera body is like anywhere from $700 to $900. You have to buy a lens unless you want to use the kit lens, and you have to buy the cam link, which is normally what, like $250? Is that the normal price on those?
Yeah, now
I
it's
don't
like
know.
$7,000.
Yeah, now they're like astronomically expensive on eBay. But if you're throwing that much money into it and have never touched one of those cameras before in your life, how good of quality are you really going to get out of it versus throwing on your C920 that basically does all the work for you and will get you through it as you're growing? So it's just like we always say, anything when you're starting out with this stuff, yes, buy the essentials that you need, but the $50 webcam is perfect whenever it's your first stream. You don't need to jump that deep into it to start off with.
Also, if I can like jump in here, for the love of God, please look into proper lighting. That can make anything look good.
Yep.
It can make a C920 look almost as good as a DSLR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, for me, what I would say is the first thing you should focus on is a mic. Like, you don't need a webcam. Like, if you have good enough internet that there's no like there's not a lot of pixelation or whatever, mic. That's the first thing. All the rest can come later. If you have a good mic, your stream looks good, your content can be amazing. Just look at Lyric.
So recently, going back on the camera thing, so I have a C920 as well. And, I'd been struggling with it because I don't know much about it. Like, I'm one of those people that need to be educated about how to use cameras and things like that. And so recently somebody came on and was like, what webcam do you have? And I told them, they're like, And they're like, try doing this. And then we changed all these settings and it was like a game changer. Like, I was like, no wonder I've been having so many issues, and it was just like, oh, it's so much better now. My lighting's a little off since it's the middle of the day, but it was just like, yeah, I really don't need a crazy camera. I mean, like, I want one for other things aside from streaming, like taking pictures and things like that. It's something that I really want to get into myself. But for streaming, definitely you don't need a crazy camera to have good quality.
And I would say, too, even like to go deeper in of not wasting money on equipment, especially right now during the whole COVID stuff, webcams are as big of a ripoff as they can be right now. People are selling C920s for $200 on eBay. Please don't buy that for $200. Wait. Do a little bit of digging online. Something that I've actually kind of been playing around with and looking into is using an old cell phone as a camera. It's not perfect by any means, but there are ways that you can either do it over Wi-Fi or even connected via USB. It's probably going to take a little bit of, being comfortable with technology and probably screwing up for a little while until you get it just right. So it might be frustrating. But if you're just starting out, especially right now while you have extra free time, just look into it and see if it works for you. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But hey, if you can save money not buying that and use a camera that in reality is probably a better camera than your webcam on these, most fairly modern smartphones anyway, why not try it? And if it doesn't work perfect for your face, use it for like a cool second camera somewhere. Hang it on your wall and point it down at your desk. People love that like behind the scenes shot.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's important when you're first starting out to just use what you have to just get rolling, and just get creative with it. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. And going into the mic thing, because I think microphones are, if I had to rate everything by importance of what you need, I'd say a good environment, a good microphone, and a decent PC to run whatever you need to run smoothly. And then then a good camera. You can use whatever POS you got laying around the house for a camera. You like literally a cell phone, you can use that because especially if you're doing gameplay and just like a game streamer, most people will not be looking at both at the exact same time. So you can probably skimp on one, but hopefully not the like main game stream. If you are doing just like non-gaming content or non-screen grab content, then definitely make sure your camera is decent. But most people listen to streams in the background. Most people watch streams with the screen either on a different tab, or most people have them on their phones face down when they're doing work. So sound quality, even on YouTube videos, like anything, audio quality is the number one thing I think is most important. Because if it sounds horrible, no one's going to stay. If it looks horrible, but it sounds okay, you got a lot more leeway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't even need to have the whole XLR set up like most of us have.
I don't even have
Like right
that.
now, Randy's using what are you even using right now?
C920 right now, but yeah, in my kitchen.
Wait, C920 mic on the webcam?
Oh, no. Sorry. Razer Siren X.
Oh, I was
thought
about to
you
say.
meant the webcam.
What
Sorry.
did you do to
I
that
was-
thing? It's
There's
like
no
that's
way.
he's the new master of audio. If that's true, dang.
If that was a C920,
You know,
then yeah,
the-
pay $294.
it's like 20 filters, but you can make it work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
even then, like this microphone that I use, I've had this since I was like 14 or 15, and I played music. And it's an XLR microphone, but even then, it's still it's XLR to a USB port, and I just do, post processing on my PC. I mean, like I said, I used to play music, and I've done live audio for a really long time, but it's not hard to use things like that. Use what you got, man. Like this thing's been around for, like I said, it's 13, 14 years. It's just been sitting around, and then I just threw it in there, and it works.
yeah, and with audio, you can even buy like a Yeti and a snowball. They aren't bad options, but it's 100% about your environment too, for both lighting and sound quality. If you're in a loud room, it's going to be loud. Simple as that. If you're in a dark room with no lights, it's going to be dark. Having a good environment is the best thing to do. And sometimes if you don't have a good environment outside, a corner, you can make a good environment in a corner. Like me, I just have black sheets up on my wall, and I have a few sound panels in the corner here to dampen the booms off the back. And I have a windscreen here to help with that too. And honestly, as long as you make sure you keep the environment good, your stream will look decent quality. And again, back to diminishing returns. There's a level of quality where your stream is, I would say, passable for anyone. Look at Tyler 1. He has horrible audio quality. Horrible. Abysmal.
Abysmal.
It's actually garbage how big of a streamer he is and how trash his setup is, okay? And this man streams in his in like a kitchen. So that tells you right there. You don't need to have studio quality equipment. You don't have studio quality microphone.
Wait,
You need to
sorry.
have
If I can stop you right there for a second.
Mhm.
This is what I personally, English is hard, on my streaming computer back home, because I'm here in Greece temporarily, but I live in the Netherlands. My stream setup is there. I put it in chat. That is the mic I've been using, and it has been sounding better than my Blue Yeti by a long shot. So unless you get it like 200 plus mic, this is the best mic you can get, up to €200 or dollars, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Now, for all the people who are listening to this via podcast who don't have access to Twitch chat, which mic did you just link?
The name is hard to pronounce, but it's called Xingyao condenser microphone. It's a whole kit as well. So it comes with a boom arm, it comes with a pop filter, the thing you put over your mic. It's an XLR mic. It's
Man, that's actually pretty legit for the
amazing.
price.
Yep.
All the stuff
it
that
is.
comes with. That's like a really good
Mhm.
starter kit, basically.
Especially for
Exactly.
the pandemic. It's like not pandemic priced out either, I think.
Right?
So
Nope.
I don't think
Because nobody knows about this. It's not a
Exactly.
Yeti. It's not a Razer. And this got recommended by somebody who actually works on Guild Wars 2 sound. Like he's on the sound team or whatever his position is. So yeah, he knew what he was recommending, and it's been working amazing for me.
perfect. All right. So recommendations by Randy. Love it. All right. So we have a question in chat from Loba Pixel. Their question is, how to deal with another streamer that self-promos in chat? Comes in and says, finally made it, 800 followers. Going to edit a Twitter video about it. How do you respond to this while letting them know that self-promo is not allowed? It's obviously common sense, but some people don't have it. My first response to that is, actually, I'll let everyone else go first because mine's going to be pretty five-head. So.
Okay,
So-
wait. Are you at? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So for me, I try to find this balance of like, being straightforward about my rules and things like that, but also keeping that positive flow throughout your stream. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like this thing. And I feel like as a woman, I need to learn to be more like cutthroat about things because I'm kind of a pushover. And so with that particular thing, it really depends on the context for me. Like if Sadomi came in and was just like, oh yeah, just casually mentioned something he was working on, I'd just be like, oh cool, you know, like no problem. I have no issues. But if it was some random person coming in, I'd just be like, oh, good luck with that, and then move on. Like, that's my kind of thing. That's how I see it. I just move on from it. I don't bring much attention. If they're consistently doing it, then yeah, I'll probably say something. But for me, it's just like, move on.
Perfect. All right, Randy.
Yeah. So for me personally, when somebody comes into my stream doing that, I don't ban. I don't even I don't even warn them. I basically tell them like, "Hey, this is not gonna work. The what you're doing right now is not gonna work. Like, there's nobody gonna click on your stream right now because you said this, or if they are, they're just gonna click on it to laugh at you and then go away."
You're like giving them advice, like, "Hey, buddy, this isn't gonna work out for you." Like,
Exactly.
I like that. Yeah.
Exactly, and I'll just let them in there. And sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, people don't come into my stream. What should I do?" And basically, I'll give them the advice that that worked for me at some point in time, and I'll give them that advice because that's what I know. And I'll tell them, but it depends on your content, depends on what you're trying to do, and try to look up people in those fields and see what they did, because my advice may not work for you, and their advice may not work for me. So you just got to do research. And when it comes to banning those people, I only do that when they're obnoxious about it. So if they're like, yeah, people don't come to my stream, what should I do? And I already talked to you about it, and then you basically copy paste like 4 or 5 times, you're gone. Because one, you're not even trying to listen. You are literally trying to mooch instead of like trying to take advice or just make a mistake because you didn't know about streamer etiquette or whatever. That's when I ban. But other than that, I usually just talk to them until they get trolly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, MPI?
I think, honestly, they kind of answered both of my answers. Like, Sadomi, if you came in, or anybody who's like been in my chat, my community, is one of my friends comes in, and maybe they just finished their stream and they're like, yo, just hit, so many subs, whatever. Most of the time, that's when all of us are gonna be like, dude, that's great. That's amazing. Like, congratulations. I'm so glad that happened for you. But if it's someone who I've never seen before, or we have no idea who they are, that's kind of whenever I do the same thing that Randy said. Like, hey, we don't really do self-promotion here, especially if we don't know you. And most people, just as a heads up on Twitch, probably won't be this nice about it. But, don't do that in people's chats. It's kind of like, use it as an education moment. And if it's someone who you constantly have the same problem with, that's when you can, look more into maybe banning them from chat, or even just timing them out for a little bit. As a, hey, we've talked about this before. I'm sorry that, it's not working out for you right now, but, it's going to be a lot of work. You're not just going to go into people's channels and say, hey, come watch me. That would be like if you're in the middle of a television show and somebody pops up on the bottom of it. It's like, hey, my show's on another network. Come watch it. Nobody's going to go watch that show, That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world except for on this kind of platform. So I try to use it as an educational moment of, some people won't be as nice as me about this, by the way. They're going to either ban you, or even some people's communities might come troll you a lot because of it. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but you could run into that, and I don't want you to run into that as a new streamer and get, discouraged and turned off of the platform, because adding more people to Twitch as creators is good for everyone, in my opinion, because it's going to bring more people to the platform overall. So I don't want people to run into that and then get, discouraged, or kind of get disheartened and want to quit because somebody was mean to them because they didn't know better. There's no rule that says you can't do that. So until someone tells you that's not really okay, like it's an unspoken rule kind of thing.
And there's a lot of that on Twitch too. There's a lot of unspoken etiquette where you're just like, you have to learn it.
Exactly. And you can't learn it until you're in it, So that's why I think anyone who has been on the platform for a while and knows those things should use that knowledge to tell people and to help educate new people, because they have no way of finding out if someone doesn't tell them.
It's basically being potty trained.
Exactly.
Gotta learn the hard way.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've had good friends of mine. Like I was good with them. I've even been a mod for some people, and then I do something which I didn't even think about was like self-promoting, and they're like, "Yo, Randy, watch out! Don't do that." This and this and this. Streamers etiquette. I'm like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, I did not mean it like that." But then lesson learned. So you fall sometimes, but if you are really willing to learn, you'll get there. You'll know what streamers etiquette is. You know exactly when to come into somebody's stream, and you know what to say and what line not to cross, and it'll come.
Mm-hmm. Now, for my point of view on this, as somebody who talks about streaming a lot, people do come into my chat talking about the streams, but that's kind of a mixture of what I do. So it's a little different for me. So essentially, when someone self promos during my stream, as in like, "Hey, I'm live now. I'm doing this. Here's what I'm essentially doing." This is what I essentially say out loud. Essentially, say that your marketing game is so trash that you don't have anything of value to show me to make me go there naturally. So you have to beg me to come to your stream. So you probably have a trash stream. So that means I'm not going to go waste my time looking at it, except for as like a free roast or just let some. That's pretty much it.
Mhm.
But I think that celebrating accomplishment, like if you come into my chat and you're like, "Hey, I just hit like 1,000 followers," I'll be like, "Yo, good job. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. That can be hard, so good for you." But generally, I want to focus on what I'm doing as a broadcaster, and chats there is. I said, chat is a privilege. I don't read every chat like out loud. I read the ones that I want to. If I read your chat out loud, it takes a privilege. I thought you said something intelligent that I think is worthy of me. That sounds so conceited, but I think it's worthy of being on my show. Okay. Because I hold my show in a very high regard. So if I do that, so if you post trash comments, I'm not going to read them out. I'm just going to ignore them. And if I ban you, generally, if I really ban you, like ban you, I'm not going to say anything about it because I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. And if I'm banning you, that means you said something that is absolutely zero value and is actively actively negative towards my community and towards my show. So therefore, why would I want to highlight that? With that.
Okay.
True.
Yeah. Now here's the problem. If it comes to a close friend or someone you know or a viewer that you're like kind of cool with or been there for a while, definitely talking to them, and like Randy said, streamer etiquette, like hit them up. It's better to get punched in the face by a friend than by a stranger. So let them know. But if they're not getting the memo, just be like, "Hey, listen, I'm still cool with you. If you are cool, just be like, hey, I'm so cool with you, but I'm not gonna let you in my channel anymore because you're kind of bringing down my broadcast. I don't like that, and I value our friendship, but you're messing with my stuff, dog. Out of here."
That's definitely hard when like somebody who's like been supporting you or been there a lot, and you have to be like, "Look, you're kind of causing issues," like, it's never an easy thing to confront a viewer who's there often, because it's like you do really appreciate that they're there and they support you, but if they're causing issues, you kind of have to like cut it off.
Yeah, it's like a toxic relationship. You want to just get out of it.
I was gonna make that reference, but I didn't. I wasn't sure if I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, it's like with everything else in life. If the negative outweighs the positive, then you gotta cut it out.
Yeah. I think too, kind of with that is it's people all the time have trouble talking about like playing games with people, either with viewers or with friends who they had before streaming. I have a lot of friends that I love playing video games with, and I would absolutely never bring them on my stream because they do not fit on a stream. They do not fit my brand at all, and it's kind of one of those things that it's hard to look at it that way, but you have to look at it as, would I want to be like in business with that person? And if I wouldn't, I'm not bringing them on my chat or like in my voice chat and channel to hang out.
Yeah, no, that separation of business and personal, that's one of the main reasons why in companies you can't even recommend a friend to work at your company or can't date on with somebody in the company because personal and business it just doesn't mix well usually.
Yeah, and with streaming especially, the problem comes from a separation of people knowing which role they fit into. There are a lot of different streamers who are casual streamers, people who stream like just once every like 2 months because they feel like it on like a Saturday night. You have the hobbyists, people who just do it for a fun hobby, people who do it for supplemental income, people who do it full time, and people who do it as their like full side business, like full life, like dedicated not only just their business but just everything they do within life. So when you mix any of these two groups together, ideals conflict because one person will think that everyone's a hobbyist, when in reality the person also a business person will think everyone wants to be a full-time streamer. I was really guilty of this before. I would think everyone would want to fit into the same category. But when I realized everyone has different reasons to stream and different levels they want to be at in streaming, it is definitely a lot easier to understand that and kind of give people leeway, understand who belongs where on what streams when they do it. So having that perspective is really important there. Alrighty. Perfect. Good answer, everybody. I love that. I love it. You guys are awesome. Good job today. I'm loving it. All right. We have another question from Lumberjack Allen Streams, one of my favorite people on StreamKey Podcast today. So, Lumberjack says, so my question, kind of from how Sadomi started this on how there's a lot of people who are new to Twitch. What is the biggest misconception to streaming?
I do like the point that was made right under him. The misconception is that growth exists on Twitch. Got to make content on other platforms. I do think there is growth on Twitch. However, I do agree that your presence on other platforms is very crucial to your growth on Twitch. 100%. I agree with that. I asked, I don't know if you guys know, who was it? She's a big pianist on the music platform. Laura, I don't remember the numbers. She's huge, right? And I messaged her one time asking for advice, kind of like, so how am I supposed to grow? How do I get better? I want to do good here, And she was just like, really grow your YouTube, grow your Instagram. She's like, the people that are on my stream watching me are not from just me streaming on Twitch. So that's kind of an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much the biggest misconception, like just around the board. Also that you can make money on Twitch by streaming. That you can, but you have to. So the way it's not. Here's the thing: when it comes to streaming, you're not selling a product. You're not selling something you can tangibly give out to people. A lot of people aren't. I'd say that
you can't rely on the money. It's just
yeah. It's like going to a strip club and hoping your favorite customer is there. Pretty much.
I got a better one. It's like stocks. You're investing. You're investing so much.
So you better be enjoying what you're doing because it's not gonna pay out all the time.
Yeah, and as somebody who tried to be a full-time streamer a few years ago, the one thing from a typical like 9 to 5 versus a streaming day is if you have a bad day at work, you generally get paid the same. If you have a bad day like stream, like let's say your internet just dies. Okay, no stream that day. If you don't have any outside sources of revenue to monetize, then that's just like it. Or even better, at least like at a 9 to 5, you can get if you get fired, you had to do something really bad, and like you had to like, really try almost.
And even then, you get unemployment usually too. So yeah.
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 You can get banned from Twitch if just like someone sends you the wrong donation sound and you had those up back in 2017. You remember, or if you say the wrong like knee name.
Yes.
Knee name.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So there's that. And when it comes to growth, there is growth on Twitch, but the problem is a lot of people don't understand what makes people grow, and they don't understand how to bring people into their channel. That's why I say a lot of people should focus on the just chatting category, because I think that the only way you can grow on Twitch is if you are having first mover advantage on a game and you can position yourself in the directory to be up at the top. But if you're a small streamer and no one knows you, you're never going to do that, because any new game that has any amount of serious traction on it will have somebody who has a larger audience just up there already. They have that, and they've earned that. They've gotten to that point. They can have that. That's their space. So what you have to do is, and I want to elaborate too on making content on other platforms. You have to create something that people want to consume first and foremost. No matter how popular your stream is, if you get hosted by every streamer on Twitch at the same time, but you have nothing to offer to anyone, you're gonna go back down to like, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. But if you get hosted by like a few people randomly, but you have a lot to offer in that first few minutes they see you, then Boom. That's good. I'd rather get hosted and be prepared by 10 viewer streamers than one big fat Tim the Tatman raid in the middle of a really bad round of competitive Valorant.
That one round where you're not speaking, you have to be focused, and they're like, "Okay, I'm out."
Or you get picked mid. It's the worst.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, any input on the biggest misconception on Twitch?
I think you guys kind of talked about it when I stepped away, but like the growth on it, how you have to grow on other platforms. But I think the other one that comes to mind, and this may not be as big as it used to be, but that if you turn on your stream one time for the first time, you will make millions of dollars. Like, I don't think this is as big of a misconception as it was at one time. Maybe whenever like we started to see people really blowing up, like Ninja being in like Times Square and stuff like that. But it seems like for a long time, maybe a year or two, it was just like this was the get rich quick scheme that everybody thought they had. They're like, I'm going to start streaming and I'm going to be a millionaire, and then they would start, and a month later be like, I've made zero money. No one watches my stream, and I hate it, and I don't understand why. So I just think that I don't think it's as big as it used to be, but I think there still are plenty of people who are like, this is going to be like my big break. This is my get rich quick scheme.
Right.
Instead of
And
like,
it's not.
hey, I might make a little bit of money doing this. And like, you can make a living off of creating content and not be a millionaire. Like, I think people forget that. It's like when you're an actor, people think you're either in a Hollywood film or you're dirt nothing. There are plenty of people who work in like off-Broadway plays that they make enough money to, live. They're not millionaires. They're not rich. And, there might be some times where they're kind of like, cutting it a little bit close, but you're going to have that in any industry you're in. So
I think that's the sweet spot to be in too, like, because then you're not overwhelmed with everything, and you're still doing what you love, and it's not like just oversaturated. Yeah.
You can still make connections with people, but when you get to be that big, it's so hard to still make those connections with people. And again, that's kind of the reason that I think the four of us are doing this, is to have a connection with people. So if I can't do that, I may be making a lot of money, but I'm not doing what I want to do anymore. And I've already done that. It wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I know for a fact too that, let's be honest, if you were way bigger, do you think you'd be happier as like broadcasters? Let's say like a couple thousand, like 5,000 people watching stream. Me? Hell no.
Jesus.
You know why? I say so much raunchy stuff on stream. Someone's gonna clip it, and then it's gonna be with me forever. Like, I'm glad I don't break 30 viewers, dude.
You guys
already be clipping everything I'm doing.
That already
I would just
happens to
embarrass
me.
myself. Yeah, like it would just be a mess.
So the thing is with me, I like when I just started streaming, that was my peak. Don't ask me how or why, but that was my peak. I peaked at 1,000 viewers every day, at a point at 1,800. I can tell you that the more people you have, I've never had a more toxic, I don't even know if you can call them a community at that point, but it was so toxic. I was playing an anime fighting game, and somebody else was playing that game too, and he was like the number 2, and I was like the number 1, and we switched continuously in terms of viewers. And they would go to his stream and say stuff that I supposedly said, like, yeah, he said it could beat you, and I'm using the nice words, but yeah. And then his viewers came to my stream, and then after a while, we just connected, and we were in the same PlayStation party because we were getting sick of it. And it happened as we were in the PlayStation party. We're like, "What are you talking about? He's in the party right now." Like,
he's right here. That's so
exactly. These people, like, they literally went out of their way to create drama, and it was eventually I lost my love for the game, for streaming in general, because I just got partnered, so I was basically hyped up like 24/7 because money. I thought I was going to make it. I was a partner now. I would never have to work again. Games is going to be my life now. And after a while, it was just like 8-hour streams every day. It was basically a 9 to 5. And then I just didn't want to stream it anymore. I was done. I didn't touch the game for a month or two, and I switched to a different game. And what happened? Viewers dropped because that wasn't my game.
Right.
I was known for that one game. And like I said, in the beginning, I made so much mistakes, and for me personally, I got too much too fast. I didn't know how to be a streamer. I just had the success literally just thrown on me, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I lost it. So It's like, honestly, I don't know if I ever want an audience that big again, because it felt like a job more so than me enjoying gaming. Because if I missed a few comments, people would get mad, and it was just so much going on.
Right.
It was insane.
It's
I
interesting.
Yeah, I honestly would like maybe like 500 max, and then make, if I were lucky enough to make a living out of it, that would be the best range for me.
I've come to this decision not super recently, but within the last year. I do not want to be a full-time streamer ever. Never. What I would love to do is do people's like socials instead, the behind the scenes work. Because let's be honest, let's say that I want to do something else in the future. My face isn't like everywhere. My face isn't, like I can change what I do and not get as much backlash for it. Let's say Ninja wanted to become a professional chef. He'd get roasted.
Gross.
He get a spit up his butt and tossed in the oven at 350 degrees for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So having that freedom to kind of move around and do whatever you want does seem pretty nice. And I kind of like a little level of anonymity, Like you can still be crazy on the internet and still not have every little bit of your piece be analyzed.
Right.
Boom. All right, so Marius Urbellus, I love that name, come up with a question here. So, any tips on growing in the science and tech category, like game development streams? I'll go last on this one, so we'll start with whoever is comfortable starting off.
I honestly might not have an answer for that one. That is outside of my field, because
Yeah, me too. I'm not really sure on that. That's a good question for sure. I'm sure there's certain specific, things about this that would make it better, but I wouldn't know. I'm trying to think if the little I know about this.
I don't know if
I mean,
I don't think I have a perfect answer for that category, but I mean, I would treat it like any other category of getting to know other people that do those things and making the connections just like you would in music, art, gaming, cooking, whatever it is. Find people who do the same thing and make those connections. But as far as like just specifically for that category, I don't know because I've never done it.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. And then just off of those people that you find in that community, learn from them, and ask them questions. I think that's the best way to go about that for sure.
Yeah, and I would say even you could maybe get in somehow in touch with like some of the studios that are a little bit bigger that do that. I'm not saying like, Ubisoft or anything, but there's some indie studios that are fairly popular that do streams like that, and I'm sure that they would be happy to answer questions. Don't ask them on stream. Like we said, please don't go into their chat and do this. But, maybe a Twitter DM or shoot them an email and say, hey, I'm a smaller indie dev, and I know that you guys do some development streams or like community time streams in this category. Do you have any advice on how I can grow in that area?
Honestly, that's a good one, because especially indie developers appreciate how hard it is to be an indie developer.
Yeah.
You would get, honestly, the love and the love they have for their work, the commitment they have to their work. It's not like companies like Ubisoft or EA or Activision don't do that, but they're just too big. The smaller ones have the time, they appreciate it, and they are more than often most willing to help you out or give you tips, especially if you're in the same field as they are. And aside from that, just try to be at conventions or gatherings where these types of people would be and just talk to them. And you would be surprised how much you can learn for just going to one of these things.
Yeah, I would, and like right now we can't obviously get to conventions, but because of that, people are using social media and online forums more than they have in like probably the past like 10 years. So I would say find those communities online and just hang out with people, get to know people. There's, almost every dev studio, especially indies, have a Discord server now. I can think of off the top of my head like 2 or 3 various subreddits, if you're a Reddit user, for indie game developers. Just maybe throw a post in there and be like, has anyone else ever done this? Have you guys ever done a stream for your game? How did it go? What did you do? What did you like? And maybe see if you guys can work together on some stuff to figure out ways to grow in that community.
Yeah, just really reach out. That's important.
Yeah.
It actually goes back on what we said before about like being a streamer in general. It works the same with basically anything. This is just networking.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what field you're in or what you're doing, just network and organically, not the follow for
Right.
follow type
Oh, yeah.
thing.
That's very important. Organically.
Well-
Yeah, I like that.
We'll get into a little follow stuff because I have a really fun rant about that. But so, Marius, I'm not going to give you tactical advice because I haven't done the research to give you proper tactical advice. So anything I say would be completely pulling it out of my backside. But I will say, I'd say think about it from a very, like, take a step back. Like, why do you want to grow in that category? Like, what is the end goal for that? Because once you figure that out, it'll be able to help you figure out down the line. Just keep asking yourself, why? And then you'll get down to how you can probably grow there. Because once you keep asking yourself why, how do you ask yourself why? Here's how you do it. You sit down and like, okay, why do I want to grow in this category? Okay, why do I want to stream my game development? Why do I want to stream my game development? And why do I want to have people in my stream? Why do I want to have people watching me? Once you get those questions answered, it's way easier to figure out how to grow because then you can start figuring out what exactly you're aiming for. I think every streamer should ask why. And I'm very, very hard on the why part. Once you ask yourself why for a lot of things, it honestly gets really easy. Like there's a reason why little kids ask why all the time.
I was
why all of a
legitimately
sudden-
about to say, you remind me of a little kid sometimes when I ask you a question. I'll be like,
Why?
I want to make a video on this. You're like, why? And I'm like,
Why?
to help people. And you're like, but why? Why?
Why?
And it ends up being like a 45-minute conversation of you just saying why over and over and over again. And I'm like, because I want to.
Damn it!
Just answer my question.
Honestly, to add on that this is one thing I've heard like so many times, and it's golden. Can you watch your own streams?
Yeah.
If you cannot watch your own streams, why would other people?
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't give me that mess of like, oh, I don't like the way my voice sounds. Nope, man. Nope.
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 That's
Not
hard
an
though.
excuse.
Especially
It's so hard
as
to
like
get over
someone who
that.
has to sing on stream. Like every time I see a clip, I'm like, like I don't want any part of it.
I've edited like videos of myself for like 4 or 5 years now, and I still hate the way my voice sounds.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's so
such
hard
a
to
weird
get used to. It really is.
I
But
think everybody has a problem because for me, it sounds like no matter what mic I would be using, even if I were even if I were in a studio that's like made for voiceovers or whatever, I still think that for some reason my sound would not my voice would not sound amazing on the mic. I don't
Right.
know why. It doesn't matter what mic I use, what environment I'm in. Even if I listen to myself on somebody else's equipment, I'm like, why do I sound so off? It's just, I think everybody has that. It's weird.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. There's got to be a science behind it, you know?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
So there
I'm
is
sure
a
there's
bit of
something
it.
with like the way that your brain perceives that sound
versus how you hear it.
and how
Yeah.
you normally hear
So-
it. Because like you can hear yourself talk, but it doesn't sound the same as like whenever you hear it through a recording.
It throws me off when I have a mic and I can and it's on a speaker and I hear my own voice while I'm speaking. I'm like, it throws me off
Is
every
that what I
time.
sound like? I'm so sorry, guys, that's what I
Yeah.
sound like.
So here's exactly what I think the theory is on that. So there's two factors: the fact that we're listening to an electrical signal that's simulating sound, and the fact that we're speaking through the sounds coming through our throat. So we hear it from down here, and it vibrates through our bones in our face, and we hear it through that way. So when we hear it played out back to us, it's not coming back to the same medium. Essentially, especially if it's through like audio of like a playback. Always do a playback. Always do a playback. So you're hearing an electrical signal of what's coming out of your throat, but not what's being vibrated through your bones into your ear. So of course it's gonna sound different for everybody. I think everyone, if you
Right.
take your headphones out, if I take mine out right now, sorry everyone wants to talk. It's just sounds so much different than if I actually listen to it back through the electrical signal, because I can tell for a fact I can hear. And you feel the back of your like ear and everything, or the bones in your like jaw and face, you can feel them vibrating. So I'm not a scientist, but essentially I think that is the main reason why we sound different, why it's so weird.
I just want my voice to sound how it sounds like in my head, honestly. I
Yeah,
like
me
it
too.
better.
I sound like a goddess up there.
I thought it sounded like Samuel L. Jackson.
I just sound less annoying in my head.
Oh yeah.
Boom. Alrighty. So, on to branding, because I think we all have very varying names actually when it comes to our branding of our channels, of our online personas. So using your real name or variation of your real name, what are y'all's opinion on that? We'll start with
Okay,
Randy,
I'll go first. Yeah. Honestly, you're staring at my actual first and last name. So my name right there, RandyDeg, is just missing 3 letters. It's a Dutch name. I can say it in Dutch if y'all want to, but it's gonna make y'all, want to grab a drink. But
Do it.
Well, yeah. Now
all right,
now I'm
my
curious.
I want to
real-
drink. Like,
all right,
Monday at noon. I got time for
I need
that.
an excuse.
all right. My real full name, and I have no problem with this whatsoever personally, is RandyDeg.
ooh.
Yeah. So basically, how my name came about is in Dutch. I tried to this name was like when I was 14. I wanted, I was in that phase like, oh, I'm tough. So my name was actually supposed to be RandyDeg because the DE is THE in English. So it was supposed to be RandyDeg, but once I started streaming, people called me RandyDeg, and I was like, you know what? Let me just run with it. So that's basically how it came about.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Perfect. Now, Seena, you have your
Yes.
reasons why you don't use your full legal name, which
Yes.
obviously.
I
but-
do have. Yeah, for me, it's like, I have a family and things like that, and people, that's up to you whether you want to, be upfront about your name. I think for me and like my safety and especially like the content I do, it's very important that I, keep personal stuff very separate from what I do. Not that I'm not personal with my viewers and things like that, but there's just information I have to keep safe. I have recently put my first name on TikTok just because I was like, it's so heckin' close to my nickname. Like, I don't even care. So, but Seena is actually just, so my first name is Serena, right? And growing up, my cousin was never able to pronounce Serena. And so she called me Seena all the time. And so that name just stuck. So we got called Seena, and sometimes people would say Seena Bobina and things like that. So that's just always been a comfortable name for me. It's just like a fun, like, family name. And I don't know, I just think it goes really well with my stream because I do like to be personal with people and I like to, like, connect in ways like that. So yeah, I really like my name.
Perfect. And MPI, what's your tale of your branding names?
Well, mine is just an old name that I had for a really long time and couldn't think of anything better. But I like the way that it's been shortened. And social media people, if you're listening to me, find a way that I can make my name 3 letters long on all of your platforms. It's not that hard. It's got to be easier than having long names. But I can't make my name on any social media platform just MPI because it's too few characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't want to have, like, MPI on Twitch because I do things other than Twitch. And, like, I don't want underscores or numbers because I just hate the way those
Right.
look. It's not uniform
Mr.
enough for
PI?
me. So
Mr. PI. Mr. NPI.
that's just
I-
kind of
I
like
Mr. NPI.
that's just kind of why I left it that way. And I just introduced myself as that. I'm like, the long name's Mr. Pure Instinct, but everybody calls me MPI. It's like my friends call me MPI, so now we're friends. You can call me that. So I've just kind of like
That's
rolled into like using it as that. Like, people introduce
It's kind of
themselves.
like
in a
hey,
movie.
you're my friend, so call me this instead. And I think that's a
Exactly.
great welcoming tactic. That's
Right.
That's great. I like that.
So I've kind of just rolled with it. It initially was from like when I played nothing but competitive first-person shooter games, and now I play none of those games. So the name doesn't make sense as much as it's just kind of there and people know it. So I've just rolled with it at this point. I don't think there's anything wrong with using your name, but because we see so many like YouTubers, like that's what they're known as, like Casey Neistat, that's his name. Peter McKinnon, that's his name. But I feel like you have 2 completely different worlds there because On YouTube, you're not never, but most of the time, like, you have recorded this video all over the place, and then you edit it and upload it, and you're done with it. Whereas on stream, you're doing it right then and there. So it's easier for someone to be like, oh, well, I know who that is. I can find them. And then, we've seen some crazy shit happen out there. So that's just kind of the thing. I think if you find like a way to kind of like mix them together, like to where like it's your name, but it's not like, hey, this is my name, come find me type of thing, it's perfectly fine, especially if you want to have a brand that you can do everything with. So I've had some friends that started out with like a username and then moved to their name because they wanted to work in the games industry and be known as that person no matter where they go. Because like if I got a job in the games industry right now, I wouldn't like go to that interview and be like, yes, hello, my name is Mr. Pure Instinct. They'd be like, get out. No, we're not hiring you, you dumb idiot. I would go introduce myself as who I am. Like, this is my legal name. So I've had a lot of friends do that, and it seems to work really well for them. I've just kind of, I said, the name exists, and I feel like I'm too far in at this point to change it.
Right.
Like,
Too deep.
yeah,
Oh my God.
I'm 2.5 years deep on this name on Twitch.
You're stuck now.
I'll just continue to roll with, but call me MPI instead.
Exactly. I have the same thing. My name has been there since I started, and honestly, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm literally rolling with it every time. What is your username, RandyDeg? What is your RandyDeg? Like, unless it's an interview and I have to actually use my real name, this is what I'm going with. Like, it's a part of me now.
Yeah. And I think once, like, if you were wanting to get that into things and like work in the games industry or like maybe work for a company as their content creator, you're still going to have a resume no matter what, and that resume is going to have your real name on it. It's just going to be, I think, and most people understand that, especially in the games industry, that you probably have a username on your chosen platform that isn't your real name, because all of those people have the same thing. Like whenever you play Xbox, nobody has their name as just like Sam Smith. Like, they have other, Randy, we get it. You do.
We get it, Randy.
Most people don't just have like John Smith as their name on Xbox, because there's 4 million John Smiths in the world. So you would have one John Smith and then John Smith 453,000. So I think most people understand that, if that's what you're worried about, is moving out of being your own person on Twitch and into the games industry or creating content for other people. There's an understanding of you have to have that to be safe and anonymous on the internet, or as close as you can get.
Yeah.
Also, if I can add to this, because I actually had a conversation about this with a friend of mine. Sadomi knows him, Ali the Prodigy.
Yeah.
It's a friend of ours. He is an animator. He worked for High Moon Studios. He now works at Frontier. So he's worked on AAA titles. He recently told me that he changed his name on Twitter, on all his handles, to his real name instead of Ali the Prodigy.
Wow.
And some of us were like, why? And he had a whole explanation ready. He's basically like, if you for him in the games industry, he's an artist. If you look up all the artists in terms of animators or artistic people, most of the well-known ones are people who use their real name. It's like a resume on its own. And he explained to me, like, every time, like, if I have an interview and companies look me up, I don't want to be known as Ali the Prodigy. I want to be known as well, his real name's on Twitter, so I could say it, but I want to be known as Alejandro Potter. Like, that's gonna be me. I don't want them to like associate my name with something that is not me. I want to be Alejandro Potter, the animator. This is my work. This is my resume. This is why you should hire me. This is what I stand for. This is the content I create. And I honestly had nothing to say to him afterwards. I was like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah.
But I also explained to him that in his case, his handle, he's been using that for, I think, his teenage years, and he's like around 25-ish now. It has power behind it if you've already built a brand. So if you're at a certain point where you're thinking about, should I just discard my previous persona and just go with my real name, look at ways to how to incorporate your build your over the years build brand, because 9 times out of 10 it's still useful. Like Ubisoft, I went there to work on servers, but if I had gotten a social media manager position or whatever, like my handle would have worked in my favor. They know, like, hey, this is his handle. He knows how to be online. He knows how to be in front of the camera. He knows how to communicate. He knows our audience, our target audience. As a developer, as a publisher, yeah, no, sure, come in our team. Like there are ways to incorporate your handles. So it depends on the situation. Like with oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. Seena, I forgot your name. Seena Bobina, like she has her reasons not to use her real name, and that's fine. But then with me, I don't care at all. I don't know if Sadomi cares, but it depends on the situation. Both are valid. Both have power behind it if you know how to use it well, and that was my takeaway. Just know what you have, and if you could use it well, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I love all those points, especially the one with Ali, because I do understand the whole name as a brand thing. But for me, mine is different. Nobody knows me as Rob Clark. Nobody knows that person. Who is that guy?
Who is that guy?
Yeah, I don't know who he is. Some random dude. I think it's the first time I ever said my last name in public either. So no one knows him. But at the same time, for what I want to do, I do feel that I should change my name to my full name at some point in time. But at the same time, my name, I love being called Sadomi. I love my name. I picked this name for myself. This name,
It's a good name.
It is, and it's actually the best talking point ever because you hop into a stream like, I don't know how to say that.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh, Sadomi? No, it
I was gonna say that happened the other night.
exactly, it happens all the time. And also when it comes to an online persona, I do separate the two. Rob is not the same person as Sadomi. Sadomi is the one everyone here knows. Okay, actually, I don't think anyone's met Sadomi Rob for a few weeks, actually, 3 months even.
He's
so. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Split personality disorder? Who knows?
Maybe. We all got it.
Yeah. But also when it comes to branding, I know that I can make this name sound better than my other name. And if my name is the thing that holds me back the most, then that means personally for me, I haven't created a body of work that's strong enough to people to look past a namer. Because there are people with names very similar to mine who are actual names. Like if you look it up, there are Japanese people with names like Satomi.
Sadomi.
Yeah, Satomi's an actual name. I'm not sure that's a female or male name though, but
Cool name.
Yeah. So, like I said, there are different names for everything. And I think that name should be 100% personal to you if you want to keep it. Because some people hate their born name. Some people actually get rid of something called their dead names for people who are like trans. So being able to pick your own name is one of the benefits of being an online creator and being in the online space that I love the most. And whenever I introduce myself, I'm like, hey, you can call me Sadomi because that is who I am. If people are like, oh, what's your real name? It's Sadomi. That's what you call me. My name's Sadomi. Like if anyone ever calls me by my full legal name, I owe you money or you owe me money. That's the only time.
I like that.
Alrighty. So, chat, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to either highlight a message at me, at Sadomi. You can see it typed on the screen down there, or whatever. We love answering your questions because it gives some good talking points, and I love it so much. All right, so now, I'm not sure if I already asked this, but what makes a decent stream for you guys? Like, what makes... Okay, so let's answer this in two waves. So what personally makes one of your streams a good stream? And what, if you're going out browsing the directory, makes for a good viewing experience?
I think for me, when I'm streaming, I think the best experience just for me and everyone is just when there's a lot of interaction. Like it doesn't matter how many views I have, it doesn't matter how much money I made that day or whatever. Or even if I like sound like shit that day, like my singing is sound like crap that day. My bad. Just like, if there's great interaction, then it's a great stream. That's it for me. It's just like that, we're talking, we're having a good time, we're just hanging out. That's fun for me.
Alrighty.
Oh,
MPI?
yeah. Oh.
Oh, or Randy. No, Randy, go.
Randy's like, oh, no.
You're already going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. I was like, sure. No, for me, personally, for my own stream, it's basically what she said. Like, I've had many streams where only 5 people came in, but it were 5 new people, and they were talking to me, and those 5 people were talking to me throughout the whole stream, and I had fun. Like, I it didn't even matter to me who else came in. I have fun interacting with the people that were there, and I feel it filled up the time. It's like talking to friends, only it's like talking to new friends. Like, you have a common interest. They are in there for a common interest. They like either the game, or they already know you and they're there for you, and their common interest is you. So that makes it easy. But yeah, no, just the interaction, just the connection, building a friendship, or at the very least, like familiarity. Look, English is not my first language, but you guys know what I mean. Just building that up is just the best thing ever. And honestly, I've had many streams with low view counts that were better than my high view counts ever were, because I either couldn't see the chat, or it was moving too fast, or people were just being toxic controls. And that's why I said lower viewers, like up around 500-ish, would be the sweet spot, just for that reason alone. I know who's in my stream, I know them, and I've had a period of time where I was like, hey, what happened with your exam last week? Did you make it? Or how's your mom doing? Like, stuff like that. It just makes streaming way more fun. It's like doing stuff with your friends. And in terms of what I look for in streams, like in other people's streams, it's it depends. It depends if I want to see skills, like how do I beat this level? How do I, how are they aiming in a way that they're getting headshots all the time and I'm just trash? Or do I want entertainment? Because I know streamers that are so bad at video games, but they're entertaining, they're funny, you can talk to them. And sometimes it's not even about them, it's their community that's amazing. Then you go in there, and the people who talk in chat, you have a better bond with than the streamer itself. So that's basic. It depends on what my mood is. Excuse me. But yeah, that's what makes streams amazing for me on both sides.
I mean, I kind of agree with exactly that. Like, to me, like we said before, streaming is about making connections with people, and I could have a day where, 500 people would be watching me, but if no one's talking in chat, it's like, well, why don't I just make this a YouTube video? Why am I doing it live? It makes it a lot harder to continue to be entertaining whenever you don't have that connection, like if no one's talking in chat. So to me, when people are talking and having a good time and joking back and forth and, whatever else it is, that's when it's fun. That's when it's a successful night. And, you can have that, and then nights where, you get a bunch of subs and bits and things, that feels really good, but where did I really grow from that other than I made a few extra bucks on that night? So I think the nights where you have people talking or interacting with chat and each other, even if it's just them interacting with each other and you get to kind of watch them, goof around and have fun, that's what makes a night to me. And looking for someone to watch beyond technical stuff, obviously, like we said before, it has to sound good. I just can't watch a stream that has terrible quality. I know that sounds really bad, but if I can't hear you, I can't do it. So I try to tell people, I always I feel weird saying in someone's chat who I've never been to their channel before, hey, your mic isn't loud enough, but they may not know that. So I try to tell people, but if they're just kind of yeah, whatever, I don't really care, then I'm well, why am I still watching this? So I have to be able to hear what's going on and know what's happening. But then past that, like you said, that community being a welcoming community. If you're not welcoming to people that come in, I don't want to be there. It'd be think about if you walked into someone's house and they were just whatever, sup, go, whatever.
Well, I'm out, bye.
Yeah, versus hey man, what's up? Welcome, dude. We're so glad you're here to hang out and party with us. Yeah, of course I want to be there. That's so much fun.
Yeah, makes a huge difference when you walk into a new place, a new house, and the person who's there immediately just hey, come on in. That's such a huge you remember people that do that. You know what I mean? That makes a big difference.
Yeah,
for sure. If I don't feel welcome somewhere, I'm out, because you don't. I don't want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted. So not to sound like, oh, I'm the victim here, but if I'm not wanted somewhere, or I don't feel wanted, then I might as well go somewhere where I am wanted or go back home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, for instance, if you're not opening, I recommend if you can, someone comes in, you say what's up, toss them a beer, give them whatever food you got cooking on the table, if you had anything cooking, and what's the plan? What's the move? What we doing?
Right, like
Definitely welcoming.
introduce them, like kind of, I don't know, like further them into the community in a way, kind of like give them a reason to stay. And that's, yeah, I need to do better at that.
Isn't it amazing? Like for me personally, I sometimes give advice and then
Yeah,
I'm
you're
done
like,
with
I
it,
need to.
and I'm like, maybe I should listen to myself.
Yeah, 100%.
Might help me, because I need some new viewers. I might have to listen to myself here.
Well, I mean, the best way to learn is to teach, so this is great. We're gonna learn some things today.
It's amazing. Like it's in the same way with relationships with me personally. I could give anybody advice, but when I'm in that situation, I'm like, why is this happening to me?
What
weird.
do I do?
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, us as people, we as people are very hard to self-analyze. It is because it's so hard to look outside in, just because we're looking from our own perspective, so we see things as we are supposed to see them. So it's so hard to really, see what's going on around you without really diving deep into it. But
Self-reflection.
Exactly. So onto what I think makes a good decent stream. First thing for me is, like I said, audio quality. There's something going on. I really like a camera. Very few streams I'm gonna go to if there isn't like a physical camera, I will stay in. Especially for game streams. For game streams, I kind of have to, because if I want to watch gameplay, I'll just watch like a no. Like I said, if I just want to watch gameplay, I'll go to YouTube. I don't watch games on Twitch to watch games. But having definitely dialogue, like input from the person, and not just like someone talking, but just kind of them expressing ideas and expressing thoughts and emotions. Because watching somebody just kind of sit there, like playing a game, imagine if you're actually there in person. You kind of wouldn't want to be there. It'd be kind of awkward, right? But if you're sitting there and you're like expressing your thoughts and ideas, or even like, good example, I like this example with Summit 1G, is even when he's playing games, he'd be like, oh, dude, right there. See, if I turn that corner right there, he wouldn't peek me. Kind of like explaining like his thought process, but also kind of going through what exactly he's feeling at the same time. He's really good at that too. Really good at that. And I think a lot of streamers should kind of take that together.
It's an art.
It is. It's a skill. I don't even care who says you're sitting there playing games. No. If you're just sitting there playing games, here's how I play games by myself, okay? You ready?
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially for like people like me, where I gotta put on a full face before I come on the stream. Gotta do my hair, gotta do all these things, and like this is a funny thing between girl streamers is that as soon as the stream's over, we whip off that bra. We're just like, I'm done.
I was gonna make a TikTok about that actually.
Yeah. We're done immediately.
Right, guys,
wipe off the
night,
makeup, take off our lashes. We're like done. Oh, I love it.
No, the only way you're gonna get away with just like is if you're so good that you're a pro. Then
right,
people won't care.
exactly.
People won't care because they're there for your skills.
Honestly, if you're already a pro, then you get those. Not if you're just good. Because if you're good, no one knows you're a pro. No one's gonna go there. They'll be like, "Who is this guy?" And see something blank. No one's gonna click on a blank stream. But if you're like already a pro, they see your name like
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like
or like XCQ.
Exactly. You could go to Ninja Stream and like he could have a whole week of not saying anything and be at the moment like he was a while good at Fortnite. They wouldn't care. They want to see him build all those ramps and kill people, and then they'll be satisfied. It depends on who you are, but don't go for that. Just be interactive. It's also a mistake many people make. I still make those to this day. I'm so focused sometimes I forget chat, and I'm like, fuck.
Mm-hmm. Even then, like there's pros. Like I really like Halo, and I still follow that community, even though it's not as big as it used to be. But like there's a few Halo pros that'll stream, and that's the whole thing is them just going looking around, moving, and like they'll talk to their team a little bit, but then like there's no chat interaction. There's nothing like if somebody follows, anything like that. I'm like, well, why don't I just go watch this on YouTube? Like, why am I watching this here? I could be watching anything else where someone's interacting with chat. And if I was that worried about good gameplay, I would go watch like one of their montages on YouTube because it's all going to be good gameplay. The whole like 10, 15 minute video where you watch their stream and, you know, half the time they're dying and they're just upset with their teammates or they're trying to communicate. I'm like, this isn't fun to watch for me. So even then you'll have plenty of people that come in. You could be the greatest at your game ever and be the biggest pro ever. And they're still gonna be like, I'm not watching this stream because it doesn't feel like a stream anymore. It feels like pre-recorded content.
Okay, so Ninja Spence came with a question. Well, kind of less of a question, more of like a thought piece on us. I'm going to redirect the question so it's a bit less. How can I put it? It's a bit less, just kind of one training. So what Spence said was thoughts on streamers that clutter the screen with branding, information, etc. I find that messy and jarring to watch. So I'm sure we all can agree we don't like that. So I'm going to redirect it a little bit to what overlay tips can we give to create the best experience for your viewers?
I think I need to just be quiet and listen to this one. I'm real bad at mine. Go ahead, guys.
I have been fortunate enough to have a sponsor or two at a certain point in time. And especially in the beginning, I was making the mistake of putting like a bar on top of my stream with all my socials, and then below a whole graphic with like moving animated parts and the entire time. I was like, yeah, that makes my stream look spicy. It's like engaging.
Spicy.
I'm like, no. So the thing is, in my personal opinion, the best thing to do if you're somebody who has sponsorships or has socials that you want to get out there, I've seen the best thing for me personally is those pop-ups that appear like in intervals, just like this is what it is, and it disappears for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or however long you want. So it's there. Hey, I can follow him here and here and here. Done. It's gone. You have the cam gameplay, whatever it is. Honestly, that works the best. I used to start it with all different types of things in my stream, and now in my normal regular stream setup, I just have me and the green screen and the game screen. That's it. That's all I have. And in the times I had a sponsorship, it will pop up and then gone.
I like that.
Yeah,
Simple.
I kind of like that too. I think with on your sentences are hard. I think one thing to think about too is when you're streaming, you have more than one scene probably. Like you don't just have your gameplay scene and that's it. And if you do, you should make more scenes. So like on my gameplay scene, I have the game. I have one of the like the Streamlabs rotating bar that will show a graphic and then it goes away and shows a graphic, goes away, just like you said. I have a webcam border because I don't have a green screen. So I have a webcam border and it's slightly animated, but it's not like crazy animated. And then I have closed captions on mine. So like one side of my screen has the camera and closed captions, and that's pretty much it. But then whenever I go to a more full camera that isn't gaming, I have a bit more of a background that's animated, so it's not just like a giant screen of my face. And then that's where I have like most recent follower, sub, tip, that kind of thing. So that way it's not in the way of anything. The only thing that's happening on that screen is my big face is talking to you. And there's no gameplay that it's interrupting. There's nothing else that's going on. So if you want to have more, that would be the place to have those, I think. But your gameplay screen, your screen that you're on when you're drawing, painting, doing perler beads, whatever it is, less is more, for sure. And the only reason I have closed captions is if someone is either hearing impaired or can't listen, but they can watch. That way they can still be part of the stream. If it wasn't for things like that, those wouldn't be there either. They would, as little as I can have on that screen is what I want. If it gets
honestly, sorry.
I just always think if it's too cluttered, my eyes are bouncing everywhere. I can't focus. There's too much going on, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm here for you in the game, not for your 4 million graphics that you put on your screen.
honestly, like to go in on that, I've seen something recently that made me be like, wow. I actually saw somebody streaming who had like he had a green screen and behind him was like something like Dr. Disrespect has. I actually stole that idea too. It's like a bedroom is or a living room in a mansion, basically something like that. And what I saw was in like the TV in that background had his sponsors, and the lamp had like DX Racer. I'm just naming something off the top of my head, but basically he played around with the things in his background without it actually being just a banner.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually, I might even steal that because that was amazing. You could play around if you have a green screen. You could play around with that too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if you want stuff like that, that's the way to do it. Find a creative way to slip that stuff in there. So it's because think about it just like any other commercial or advertisement that you see. If it's not creative, if it's just like, here's the next still image that's on my Facebook feed for whatever company, I'm going to go right past it. I'm not going to read it. I don't know what it is. Never going to know what that product was. But if it's something, different or exciting, it'll draw your attention in like that, and it'll make you think about it and remember it.
And that's literally what just happened to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the way to do it if you want stuff like that, I think.
Yeah. For me, so my number one thing is why. Why do you have this on your overlay? Like every single object that's there. Like for my productivity streams, I'm debuting my new overlay today because I'm really proud of it. Essentially, think of the why for everything on your overlay. Why is your sub to me button there? Why? So you can monetize. Okay. Why are these sponsor banners right here? A lot of people be like, because they're my sponsor. But no, why are they there? Because they're requiring you to have them there, or because you get benefit from them? Like, why? Like, why do you have your webcam border animated and not just like a simple black box? Why do you have a black box? So you can keep a separation between the games, so it's not just a jarring like color. There's something with the eyes. If you don't have like some kind of border, your eyes don't like they mesh too badly.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have a green screen, will fine. It works over fine. But yeah, asking why for everything. For me, I think if you just also learn about visual hierarchy, Google, if you don't know what it is, Google it up. It's an artist thing. Every poster should have it. Every advertisement will have it. Pretty much is where the eyes go first to look at important things. You want to figure out what's the most important thing you want your viewers to watch. A lot of game UIs focus on this too. A lot of UIs, almost every UI should have good visual hierarchy in them. So look up visual hierarchy, do some studying. There's YouTube videos about it. There's art books about it. Take a look. Boom. All right. So if you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat by either adding me, Sadomi, or just pop them out in chat. I can read sometimes, so I might be able to catch them. So I would say, what do you guys really? You know what? Just let's be a little philosophical here. We have about 10 minutes left, so how do you see Twitch evolves in the next, we'll say 2 years? 2 years. With the whole coronavirus kind of bring a lot of traffic and how the world's changing. What do you guys think?
I'm worried about it becoming too saturated, I think, for me. That's something that I worry about, because it really doesn't take much for you to get on here and just have a good time, right? Like, I started on here with like hardly anything, and I really feel like a lot of people could get into it, which is great, like I'm all in support for people to start streaming. I don't know. It's a really interesting question. I think more people will join the party,
Definitely with how much you've seen they're starting to focus like musicians coming over, the SoundCloud integration.
Yes. And there's like, I took a break from streaming for like a few months or something like that. And I came back and I'm just like, I don't know anybody in this community anymore. There's just so many new people. It's great. It's beautiful. I love it. But it's hard to keep up with. Like, it's really good, like blowing up, I feel like.
You're just lost when you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No. Well, the thing is, like, my personal opinion on that, what she said, is if you just stick with it, I mean, personal reasons aside why you take a break, but if you just stick with it, I feel like this is just like a thing people do because they can't go outside. As soon as the world returns to normal, the influx of all those people will just disappear just as quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were really that interested in streaming, they would have done so before the lockdown. So I think it's going to return to normal. There might be some people who stay because they now know, hey, this actually is fun, but it's not going to be as much as all the people that can't come in now. So I feel like it's going to die down, or at least the influx is going to go away.
I think,
Well, you
a
know,
lot.
sorry, go ahead.
I think,
Oh no, that was it. Oh,
I think I agree with you. Like, you'll see a lot of people that started it because they finally could, or they finally had time, who enjoy it, and they're going to stay because, you know, they finally had the time to do it and they like it. And then you'll have a lot of people too that, like we were talking about earlier, this was their get rich quick scheme, because they thought, oh, well, nobody can go anywhere. They're all going to watch me on Twitch. And then nobody watched them on Twitch, and they're mad and they quit. And then you'll see all of the equipment that they bought for way too expensive on sale for like half the price that it's normally worth. So once this is all over, watch your like marketplaces if you're looking to upgrade. But I think we'll see, like, we've seen a lot of people and companies and celebrities kind of jump on these live streaming platforms, or like jump on YouTube. I think all of that's going to die when this is over, because they're going to be able to go back to their normal jobs. They can go back to being on television. They can go back on tour, and things like that. So I think you'll see a lot of people drop out, but there will be some that stay, just not anywhere near as many as kind of went, I don't have anything else to do.
Here's what I think about that. So, you know, I agree that, you know, people are just going to kind of fall out of it and get back to regular life. However, regular life is not going to just happen. You know what I mean? Like, going back to it, like, people are getting really comfortable working from home. And I think a lot of companies are going, hey, this is saving us money on like renting out a building. We should just, you know what I mean? And so I think that this whole like work from home thing and like staying at home more often is gonna affect like our culture and how we work the workplace and things like that. I think it's gonna affect it a lot more than we think. And because of that, I do think that even though there are going to be people that drop out of it and fall out, there still is going to be a fluctuation of people coming into the community and staying.
Yeah, I'm not very I'm very confident that there's not going to be a lot of people coming back into Twitch. I think it may even drop off, honestly. Like, not by a lot, but it will. Simply because if we really do go back to a sense of normalcy, like it was back in November, December, that will be a long time from now.
Exactly.
People are going to be, like I said, like Seena said, perfect. People would be like, oh yeah, we can save money, work from home. Or people be like, listen, I just worked in public and I got paid like cheese and crackers. I almost died. Yeah, no, bump this. I'm doing something else.
Right.
And then you have all the people on the other flip side who are like, I've been in my house for 2 months. I hate this place. I'm selling the house. I'm moving.
Right.
And it's going to go all over the place. And as somebody who has seen Twitch go from, it was just in TV, where it wasn't really much, and then bringing itself up to the giant it is now, I don't know exactly what direction is. Like I said, this industry has been around for almost less than a decade. Like, barely a decade. Like, 1 year in streaming time is about 10 years in any other industry. Because it's so fresh. So, I honestly don't know. I honestly can't say one way or the other. I would love to be able to be like, oh yeah, streaming's going to be here. But there's one thing that Fortnite has taught me. Don't plan on anything. Just going to go.
I think
that was a wild ride.
My bigger, like, I guess, concern with where I can see Twitch going is like the commercialism of it, because we've seen Amazon has an exclusivity for some Thursday night football games, and now they have exclusivity with some of the, I think it's like 1 or 2 of the playoff games this year, and you're going to watch it on Amazon. That is where it's going to be, and they've been putting those on Twitch. Now we have watch parties. Only people who have Prime can be part of those. Wow. So how long is it going to be before Amazon goes, oh, we have a platform that live streams things. We like money more than literally anything in the entire world. how can we put those two things together? And then you start seeing a lot of those things coming in where it doesn't have anything to do with the platform and what it has been built on, and it costs more money to be part of it.
I mean,
would be my
that's what I
bigger
was
thinking.
thinking. That's what I was thinking. Because honestly, like the future of streaming in general, on platforms like YouTube, Mixer, Facebook, Twitch, it's gonna depend on what they do outside of the games industry, the gaming sphere, basically. Like, there's enough people who don't know what Twitch is or Mixer or Facebook. They only know YouTube for obvious reasons. But the more they can incorporate that into day-to-day lives with other people who have no idea but might be interested, that's going to determine where they're going to end up. Because if they just do that more, like for instance, you go to the Super Bowl, like physically, you go there and you see Twitch plastered on some things, or it's on your ticket, or whatever the case may be. However they decide to use it, that alone has so much potential to reach so much people. Like, wait, what is Twitch? All right, let me see what it is. Huh? Games. Oh wait, that's Seena Bobima. Wait, she sings. Hold up, I use that instrument. Boom. There you go. You just got somebody from NFL stadium.
Right.
It's like it depends on how they use it outside of the gaming sphere.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing a lot of that right now with people who would normally be doing something different. Like a lot of musicians right now are jumping on, and because they can't go on tour, they can't do anything else.
Right.
So they're jumping on and either taking requests or maybe they're finding ways to put all of the band together to play songs. Various things like that are happening, but those people likely aren't going to continue to do that once things are normal again. Because like the second that tours open up, people are booking tours. That's where their money is.
Mm-hmm.
They're not making money off Twitch right now like they are on tours. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them probably still aren't making a lot of money on those tours, but it's probably way more than they're making on Twitch. So
Right.
there's upsides and downsides to that, I think, of you've got a lot of bands that are doing this and they're going to go back out on tour, but a lot of their fans may have just found this platform and went, well, they're only in my town for one night, or they may never come close to me. Like where I live now, hasn't been a band that I want to see come to this town in probably 3 years. I live in a fairly small town, and all I get is country concerts. If you like country, that's fine. I don't. So I could see my favorite band, who I've never seen live before, on Twitch play as close to live as I can, and then, well, they're going back out on tour. Well, what am I going to do now? Oh, well, what's that Twitch thing that I liked? Oh, people play video games here? I like video games. People do art. I like art, so on. So I think the more people that we see influx that don't stay, that's one channel, but they may have brought, 500 people to watch, and that's 500 people that have never heard of the platform before.
That's a good point.
For sure. Yeah, like Twitch is just so, it opens a lot of doors, but again, like I said, long term, I don't think it's going to make a major shift. All right, everyone. It is currently 1 p.m. on the East Coast, which means it is time for us to get going. I'd love to stay here forever and talk with our wonderful guests, but unfortunately, they got ish to do. So, with that being said, Randy, where can people find you, and any last parting words?
They can find me at mixer.com/RandyDeg, same as my name in the stream. Twitter, I'll put it in chat because it's actually my real name and nobody can pronounce that. Parting words: be safe, stay kind to one and all.
Alrighty, perfect. I like that. And Seena?
Yeah, you can find my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/SeenaBobina, and all my social media is the same. So nice and easy. Just look my name up, go into my panels or whatever. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to chill out with you guys and kind of get different perspectives and learn some things. So thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks for coming, both on short notice too, as well, and for putting on a face. I know it takes a lot of effort, so thank you.
I know.
No problem.
Hard work. It took an hour, okay?
Oh my gosh. Anyway, MPI, where can people find you, and what are you doing next?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitch and all the platforms under the same name, Mr. Pure Instinct. We do variety of games on my channel. Right now, we're playing Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines. Is that what it's called, Sadomi? Because Sadomi decided I had to play it, so now I'm playing it. But more than that, we talk a lot about mental health and drink way too much coffee. So if you like any of those things, I'm your guy.
Perfect. Alrighty. And everyone, my name's been Sadomi. I run productivity streams on Twitch at 1 p.m. EST Monday through Friday, which is today. So right after here, that's where I'll be going. And also, I just want to wish everyone a very beautiful, safe, and productive week. And as always, MPI, if you want to say the magic 3 words.
There's 3 words?
Is it? Wait, no, 2 words.
It's 2
Sorry,
words.
I can math.
Blaze up.
Alrighty, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.